What's up, everybody? This is Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, HawgSports.com. We got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, Arkansas basketball coming off of a 99-73 slaughter over the University of Georgia, and some key games coming up for them. Some key dates for Arkansas football just announced as well, and we're going to talk to Curtis Wilkerson about basketball. Keith Grayson is going to talk to us about some things he's got going on as well. All that and more on Hog Sports Live. And before we get started, I want to remind you there's plenty of ways to watch and listen. You can always tune in on Facebook Live. Be sure to follow the page. Join 85,000 Razorback fans following the page. Also available on YouTube. Subscribe to that page. Hit the notifications bell so you're alerted anytime we upload new videos. Throw us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you're listening on that platform. Leave a review. Let others know what to expect. Also available on Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere else you can think of to find your favorite podcast. Hog Sports is just $1 right now for your first month at HawgSports.com. Okay, let's get right to it. So first, I want to talk about a few key dates for Arkansas football that were just announced. March 13th is going to be the start of spring football for Arkansas. Okay, so that's 15 practices. They'll spread it out, obviously. They'll take a break. March 21st or 25th is spring break. That's the Monday through Friday of spring break. So they'll split it up, have a few practices before, take a break, and then pick up after that. April 16th is listed as the open practice for fans. That's at 11 a.m. Before that, Hog Fest starts at 8 a.m. So Hog Fest, then the open practice for fans. Notice I didn't say the red-white game. That jumped out to me a little bit because I talked to somebody at Arkansas and he's saying, on a national scale, there has been some talk about, making spring football, no live contact in spring football. That's just some preliminary talk. I'm not saying it's happening, but I'm wondering if they just said open practice just in case something happens. I don't know. I found that kind of interesting that they didn't list it as red-white game. I could be overanalyzing that, but not listed as red-white game, listed as open practice. This will be the only open practice for fans during the spring. September 16th or 18th, when Arkansas plays Bobby Petrino in Missouri State. That's family weekend. And then November 5th against Liberty will be homecoming against Hugh Freeze and Liberty. So just a few key notes there with Razorback football. Obviously, we just wrapped up National Signing Day. Came in like a lamb, went out like a lamb. Not much to it today. This has been, I was talking to Danny, and he said, if you had ever told me that I'd be icing my driveway and icing my neighbor's driveway on National Signing Day because basically got nothing better to do, I would have told you you're crazy. But nobody signed with Arkansas. And, it's just because everybody signed early. So it's really an interesting day. We had no press conference, Sam Pittman's, which makes this the longest period from football season ending until we've had a press conference opportunity with the head coach. Longest ever in my 18, almost 19 years of doing this. So it's just, it's just the times. Signing day is so much earlier now, the early signing period, and everybody signed. You got 18 guys enrolling early, like 12 high school guys enrolled early. So, it's just different. So it takes some getting used to, but it went very quietly. Arkansas is ranked 18th by 24/7 Sports. The 24/7 Sports composite, which combines everything, is, I believe, 28th. 21st on ESPN, 26th by Rivals, and 26th by On3. I don't know how that gets you to 28th. Credit RYD75 for bringing that to my attention. I don't know how that results as a composite score being 28th. The average score for Arkansas is 22.75. Again, RYD75 for putting that together, which would have Arkansas 9th in the SEC. Obviously, losing Miles Rouser really impacted that score. They would have been top 25 with him, but losing Rouser due to off-field stuff caused that. Now, this is where we get to signing day experts. So on Yahoo, on Razorback Wire, E. Wayne, I'm not even sure who that is, but there's a lot of signing day experts out there, wrote this article. And anybody who's been following this knows that Rouser didn't sign with Arkansas not because of his choice, but because of stuff he has going on away from the field. And we don't know exactly what that is. There's been a lot of speculation. Miles Rouser, he says, has been committed to Arkansas for almost a year. The 4-star safety from Michigan, however, did not sign in late fall as many of his class of 2022 did, fueling speculation about whether or not he had changed his mind. Turns out, yes, he changed his mind, but the real surprise is the school he chose instead of Arkansas. Okay, that's It's not really what happened, but it's not even the worst one. Here's another one from somebody who didn't do any research. Kent Smith on Fan Nation. The recruitment of 4-star safety Miles Rouser has been a strange one over the past couple of months. Nothing could have prepared Hog fans for what came down today. While many expected Rouser would eventually flip from Arkansas commitment, no one saw his journey ending at an FCS Campbell University. So he signed with Campbell instead of Arkansas because, obviously it just wasn't happening. That's right, he says. An SEC program that many believe that's on the rise just got beat out by a school that almost no one even knew was a school. Come on, man. What a little research here. Anyway, I found that pretty interesting, the way that's phrased. Obviously, Arkansas basketball won convincingly against Georgia, 99-73. Stanley Mude had 31 points. We're going to get into that, obviously. But before that, I want to get to Keith Grayson because Keith has some interesting news. For those of you who aren't familiar with Keith, he comes on the show every once in a while, kind of our resident fan/insider, the former founder and president of the Arizona Razorback Club, disgraced former founder and president, I should say. It's an interesting story if you haven't ever heard it. But Keith's got some big news. He's been working on some stuff. Keith Grayson is a doer. And also, speaking of being a doer, Keith said, "I do," last week. Keith, congratulations on getting hitched.
Thank you. You were invited to the wedding, but I know that it was really important for you to see the Abbott brothers for the 11th time in concert, or whatever you went to.
We saw Casey Musgraves, and I'm pretty sure I also got COVID because of that. So, yeah.
From COVID.
Yeah. But it was a good trip to Kansas City. But if you'd have gotten married in the summer, I think I would have been there. I've been looking for a reason to go out to Arizona, so I would have been. So what's been going on, Keith? You've been up to stuff. I mentioned to people that you're a doer. You're not just a talker, and you've been inspired by these. I want to say the NIL opportunities, but really it's you found a way to kind of combine that with a way to do good.
Yeah. So ever since I left Arkansas, I thought I was going to come back in some capacity and do low-income housing. Mm-hmm. And that's still a goal of mine. But I'm only one person, and so that's taken longer to kind of get that capital to be able to spread it back home and to do projects back there. I bought some properties in the River Valley, but not on the level that I want to do in Central Arkansas. And that's always been a goal, is to get back in some capacity in Arkansas. And I've been in a very fortunate position to meet a lot of people through your site, mm-hmm. And that have the same thing in mind. And so what we've done is I've formed an organization that's a nonprofit. We've applied for our 501c3 status to be a charitable recognition with the IRS. That takes a while, but in the meantime, we do have a website that we just launched that's 425fund.org, and it's all based off kind of the story with, the 4th and 25 to beat Ole Miss, where everything looked improbable. We throw short of the first down, throw it back to the tallest guy in the field that tips it to the fastest guy in the field, and we go on to win the game after that. And I think that's kind of a metaphor of some people in Arkansas are at a disadvantage and need mm-hmm. a little bit of help, and we want to be able to offer that help. And so I know there's been some projects that have been announced recently that are privately funded endowments, mm-hmm. and we're approaching this from a crowdsourced effort, so anybody can be a part of this. And I think what's going to happen is we're probably going to pull in some people that want to donate to a cause that may not like sports and not know they can't name a student athlete on the team or any team, but they want to help people, because we're going to be able to help a lot of people with this. And at the same time, with our marketing efforts, are going to be able to give a portion of that. And our entire marketing budget is basically going to be set up through getting social media engagement through student athletes and their their social media, and they're going to do appearance fees and actually deliver the services to the people that are in need. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, this is like the highest and best use of the NIL, because we can actually contribute back to society in a massive way and affect a lot of people. And the kids that are helping us get the word out will get a little bit of walking around money. And at the same time, more importantly, if you can't tell me that if you're going to go feed a family that is in need, that you're not going to get something out of that as a college-age student. And they're going to be able to give back directly to the community in Arkansas, even if they're not from there. Mm-hmm. And it may help keep them there and do more things within the community and kind of raise this whole thing up from a grassroots level. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to start announcing some of the guys that are helping us and girls that are helping us in the next coming weeks. And, our board of directors, I founded it, but my right-hand man is Joshua Craig. Some may know him as Pinto online on Twitter, and he's been doing a ton behind the scenes to help us. So he's going to represent El Dorado. I'm from Little Rock, so we're going to get some projects in Central Arkansas. We got Steve Stewart that's got a legal background that is on the board with you. He's been there for a while. My buddy Preston Smith, who's also from the 501, who's one of my best friends. He's in wealth management. And Melissa McMullen, she's out here in Arizona, but she's from Springdale. So we want to represent the entire state with our board of directors, because we're gonna help the entire state. Mm-hmm. And then kind of join this up with student athletes, help get the message out and actually physically deliver the services and do something to be a part of this.
And that's what I like about this too, Keith, and one reason I agreed to have you on, and because this doesn't feel like just a slush fund for athletes. It's the significant majority of the money is going to help families in need in Arkansas, and no doubt this is inspired by NIL, but it's also a great opportunity to create a charitable organization that really I think is going to help some people.
And it has to. The thing is, I know I come across like online with a different persona, but I'm a businessman, and I know 100% that if the mass majority of the funds are not appropriately spent in the appropriate areas, that I, at the end of the day, would be liable for the entire tax liability of all if any money that I collect. So I'm not an idiot. We are going you almost have to preface it with that, because it does involve the NIL. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it has to help people, because we are following the rules of the 501c3, of the rules that are applied there. We have to. It's not really a have to, but it's like, I think this is a moment where sports fans can get on board with this, because my week is pretty much predicated on a win or a loss with the Razorbacks, how my week is going to go. And the other thing is, so if we can kind of marry all of this together, this is like, I mean, I don't want to like romanticize this too much, but this is like my calling, because I can help. I've wanted to help out back home where I'm from. I don't need to wear a jersey to show you what's on my chest, because I wear like a badge of honor that I'm from Arkansas, and to be able to help people, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you certainly got your hand in several different things in real estate, and you founded a Razorback club in Arizona. You've done this now. You're also a football coach. I mean, you certainly get around there, Keith. And as I said, you're a doer, and this is certainly very interesting. And I wish you a lot of success with it. What else you got going on? What else you got going on, Keith? I mean, this obviously 425fund.org is where you can read more information about it. But you've always got something in the works. I mean, a lot of people talk about doing stuff, but you have certainly have done a great job putting this together, and as well as everybody on the board here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And our flag team, 7th grade flag team, lost by 1 last night, so I'm still reeling from that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a construction company that started last week that has 6 apartment developments under contract to start breaking ground on that. I own a real estate company and a property management company, and having a baby in July, my first. So why not start a charity on top of it? I got time.
Good stuff.
I think Mario Andretti said one time, if you feel like you're in control, you're not going fast enough.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's pretty much kind of how I live my life. But all this, I think there's going to be a point in time where you and I are together, probably on a stage somewhere, maybe in Northwest Arkansas with some of our country music buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And this all started, these people, like, I know it sounds weird to people that may not be on the message board, but every single person involved in this met and came together on your message board, including like Joe Nichols. There's a PGA golfer that's on there. I mean, like, everybody that's wants to be a part of this and wants to help do this the right way and to help people in Arkansas, it all comes back to meeting on the board, which is insane to me. Like, this is transpired over like 15 years,
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I think like it's all culminated to this, and I just think it's the perfect way to do it, in my opinion, because I've looked at these other things, like everybody's kind of pulling in the same direction and trying to figure out how to navigate the NIL at the same time. And we're not talking about giving somebody like tons of money. This is just like, it's important to have these kids a part of it, because I don't have a social media presence that somebody may have where they have 30,000 followers or whatever to get our message out. And it's just, I'm just really excited, if you can't tell. I almost cried.
Yeah. Well, cool stuff, Keith. And we'll certainly be keeping track of what's going on at 4th and 25. And kudos to you for finding a way to put something like this together. And I know, again, you were inspired by the opportunity to create an NIL, and this is what this is birthed from. But really, I mean, I think this is a great opportunity to help people in Arkansas that need it. So kudos.
No, and thanks again for having me on. And I'm not that bent out of shape about you missing my wedding. It's not that big of a deal.
I want to get down to Arizona sometime soon. I got to see that place of yours too, and baby, wife, all that stuff. So
yeah, come in around July 7th. We can have you up for the birth.
Oh, is that right? Have me up for the birth.
little Darren McFadden Grayson coming soon.
Is that right? Okay. All right. Appreciate you, Keith.
Hey, 425fund.org. Check it out.
425fund.org. All right. Appreciate you, Keith. All right, everybody. That's Keith Grayson. Again, Keith gets around doing stuff. I mean, the guy is just always trying to figure something else out. And this is the reason, again, that we have Keith on all the time. And he mentioned to me, he's like, hey, I'm putting this thing together. I want to talk about it on the show. I was like, well, let me look into it. But, man, it looks like a really cool deal, and also a way to help athletes at the same time. Most importantly, help the community. And there's a lot of stuff going on out there, like with NIL stuff, that maybe feels a little bit disingenuous on how it's structured and stuff. But this feels like, I like the way this is structured. Okay. All right, everybody. We're going to get to Curtis Wilkerson now to talk a little bit about Razorback hoops. Normally we would have Curtis on for his Hog Hoops Live, but we just did a little different today.
Hey, Trey.
Hey, Curtis. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Well, we just had Keith Grayson on, talk a little bit about his new charitable organization and opportunity for NIL for Razorback athletes, and just transitioning over a little bit now, talk a little bit about Razorback Hoops, Arkansas with a 99-73 win over Georgia, 7 wins in a row, and Arkansas is just rolling, and a lot of key games coming up, especially coming up these next few days with Mississippi State and Fayetteville, and then, of course, number 1 Auburn.
Yeah, that's 100% true. It was an interesting game last night. I mean, I think most people expected Arkansas to go win at Georgia, but you can't take anything for granted on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And It's a Georgia team that beat Alabama in their home building last week, so they were definitely capable. I don't know that game went how anybody really expected it to. 100 points combined in the first half. The way Arkansas has been playing defense, I don't know if any of us saw that one coming, but it was nice to see an offensive explosion from this team. 99 points, made 15 3-pointers. That's a season high. I don't think anybody expected that, and Stanley Amude just went berserk, 31 points, 6 3-pointers. That was the guy that we were hyping up prior to the season. That's what he's capable of. He's not going to give you that every night, but if you can find some consistency with him and have those occasional outbursts, I think you're onto something when you pair it with what they've got going with J.D. Notae and Jalen Williams, and then obviously, guys like Au'Diese Toney and Trey Wade in this new look starting lineup that's really been working out for them. It's been an impressive turnaround. Maybe we should have, given Musselman a little bit more benefit of the doubt that he'd get this thing figured out. But it was looking bleak, wasn't it, a couple weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
But now the schedule turns, like you said, and the first half was kind of built for Arkansas to stack some wins. They've done a pretty good job of it. Man, February's rough into early March, and 7 of the last 9 games here are those quad one opportunities. It's going to be interesting. We're really going to find out what the Razorbacks are made of, but they've got tunnel vision on one at a time, and a revenge opportunity against Mississippi State is coming up. That was a game in Starkville. They didn't have J.D. Notae, but they just didn't play well. They were out of sorts. They probably like to have that one back, and they get a chance to avenge it this weekend.
7:30, SEC Network, Saturday, February 5th. So, yeah, that should be an interesting game. I'm actually going to go to this game, Curtis. So you and Andrew have been going to all the games, but I'm going to go sit in the stands for the first time in 18 years or something like that. Yeah. I mean, I've gone to I went to the Ladybacks game the other day. And sat in the stands, but like for a men's game, I have always, sat in the press area for every single game that I've been to. But I'm going to go with wife and daughter. We're going to go check out the game from the stands. So something a little bit different.
Yeah, that's awesome. That'll be a good time. I've almost forgotten what it's like to do that, to be a fan. I went to that to the big gymnastics meet that they had in Budwell Arena a couple weeks ago. I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt like I needed a computer. I needed to type something.
Yeah,
it was
feels
weird
different.
I
would do that before COVID and stuff. I always like to do that for football games, like in the fourth quarter or so. I would go into the stands, like especially if it's a close game. I like to go into the stands and just find a seat, where somebody has exited or something, and just kind of get a vibe for the energy, especially away games and stuff. I'd like to do that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to sitting in the stands. So what do you make of this team? I mean, they were holding everybody to under 40% from the floor. Georgia, I believe, shot 45%, 58%, I think, in the first half. So a little bit different way to get things done. But Stanley Amude with 31 points. Arkansas hit 15 3-pointers. I mean, it's just like you never know what you're going to get out of this team, but they're finding ways to win.
Yeah, I think that last part of it was the key. Earlier on in the season, you never knew what you were going to get from the Razorbacks, and it usually wasn't winding up going their way. But they found, ways, like you said, just different ways to win. This streak that they've been on has been predicated on what they've done on the defensive end, and there's going to be blips on the radar, and I think one of the biggest questions for me as Arkansas has been on this streak is, what's going to happen on a night against one of these more elite offensive teams where the defense slips up or it might not have its A-plus game? Are they going to be able to keep up with some of these other teams? And, the jury's probably still out, but I think that was a pretty, in a small sample size, a pretty good indication of what Arkansas is capable of last night. I thought that was important. This team has not been a good three-point shooting team this year. They had the streak snapped. We all made a big deal out of that. But in the 4 games since, Arkansas is shooting over 41% from three. They're averaging over 8 makes per game. And Eric Musselman's been adamant all season. This is a team that shoots it really well behind closed doors. So, are they going to be the Golden State Warriors all of a sudden? No, but can they shoot it well enough to keep themselves in games and keep defenses honest? I think they can, and that's going to be big for them. And then the other thing with this group was the bench play. And we know that Eric Musselman likes to rely heavily on his starters, and he's going to continue to do that. But when you're only playing one guard in your starting lineup, you sure feel like you need some more ball handling, some more production in the backcourt. I thought Chris Likes was phenomenal last night. He struggled this season. This hasn't gone the way he expected it to, but 9 points and 7 assists, 4 steals. I thought he played with great pace.
Only one turnover.
Yeah, only one turnover. He wasn't over dribbling. He's kind of, I think, maybe buying into the adjustment he has to make into his role. And if he can do that and then and be a plus defensively, which is, there's been a struggle for him. I thought he was really good on that end of the floor last night. That changes things. So now you look at it and you think, well, if they can get Kamani Johnson going a little healthier and provide some punch and some physicality off the bench, and if they can just get Devo Davis, just get him back to where he was. He's been in the sophomore slump here for a while. But if you get him going, I think you're really onto something. This could be a team that maybe not only could make the tournament, but maybe they could win a game or two. So definitely trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I've been following Devo's hair, his haircut. He keeps changing his hair, and finally I think took it down and shaved it kind of like it was last year. So maybe that's the secret. Like I feel like almost like he's superstitious. Like I'm gonna change this up and see how that works. It's kind of how my mind works also. But I agree with you on Likes. Likes to me has been playing for the most part this season like a 5'7" guard, and every shot is difficult. Every shot's a challenge, and you start asking yourself, does he make a bunch of pull-up threes in transition, in practice or something? Because he's not in games. But finally, it feels like he kind of put it all together. And you mentioned he filled it up with 7 assists, 4 steals, 9 points. Just a really good game. And then Stanley Amude, of course. If Amude can play similar to that, I mean, nobody's asking for 31 points a night, but 31 points, 4 rebounds, 6 of 8 from three-point range. I mean, that's what you have to have. And then, of course, a large reason for this, the streak going the way it is because of the emergence of Jalen Williams, who only played 19 minutes because of foul trouble, but 14 points, 8 rebounds. What is he averaging, like 9 and 9 right now?
Yeah, he's over 9 points and 9 rebounds per game. He's just been incredible. Yeah. All right, so big games coming up for Arkansas. I think you have them 6-4 finishing out, Curtis. The last 10, including the Georgia game, you picked the last 10 games. You still feeling that, or what do you think is going to happen this coming week? Yeah, I like that pick. It's hard to kind of step back and not get too excited about this team and pick them to go 10-0 or whatever. But it's such a tough schedule, and if you just look at what they need to do to really solidify themselves in the SEC standings and get to a good or favorable seed, and by that I mean get off that 8-9 line. In the NCAA tournament, I think 6-4 would put them in a really good spot. But you know what? Yeah, I still feel like they can do that. Obviously, expect them to win that game last night. But there's some coin flip games there that could really make or break it, for better or for worse. And, I look at a game like at Florida. I think Arkansas is a better team than Florida this year, but they haven't won there since 1995. It's ridiculous. So,
I know.
I picked a Florida win there. I don't know if I necessarily believe it, but I got to see Arkansas win in Gainesville before I can pick it. So, hey, there's an opportunity, obviously, for them to have some slip-ups. But they could also, maybe rattle off a couple unexpected wins there, too. But either way, I think things are looking a heck of a lot better than they did a few weeks ago. And they're creeping up on that 20-win range that Eric Musselman's gotten to every year as a college head coach, which is impressive. And, with 6 wins in the SEC, they need 4 more at this point to get to 10 and get themselves over 500 in a strong SEC. I think that pretty much guarantees you getting in the NCAA tournament if you can get there.
All right, Kurt. I appreciate you, brother. Stay warm out there.
Yeah, anytime.
I got 16 degrees over here and it feels like about a foot of snow already.
Oh, yeah, it's insane. It's just looking out my window right now. It's coming down like crazy. And I don't think I'm going anywhere until Saturday, so no need for me to get the shovels out just yet.
There you go. All right, Kurt. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep, anytime.
All right, everybody. Kurt Wilkerson again. Follow Curtis at @KurtWilkerson_ on Twitter. Does a great job in covering Razorback basketball and really all sports for us for well over a year now. And does a great job, has a good following on Twitter also, and does a lot of VIP content in terms of player grades, key takeaways, previews, predictions, all that stuff. VIP, does some standard free stuff for basketball, obviously, but the VIP stuff from Curtis is where it's at. And right now, HawgSports is just $1 for your first month, or 30% off for your first year at HawgSports.com. There's no promo code or anything required for that. Arkansas right now is 37th. It went from 51st to 37th in the net rankings. So things looking good after it got a little sketchy there for a little bit. Changed some things up. And it's finally coming together, Pepper. A buddy of mine sent me in a meme the other day from The Natural. All right, everybody. Before we get out of here, I want to remind you one last time, plenty of ways to watch and listen. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and you haven't thrown us that 5-star review, the show's over. So exit out of there. Throw us a 5-star rating and leave a review. Let other people know what to expect from the show. Get creative with it. We certainly appreciate all of that. It certainly helps boost our channel. Also available on Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere else you can think of to find your favorite podcast. If you're watching live on Facebook and you haven't followed the page, be sure to do so. Share the content with somebody you think might like it. And we're also available, of course, on YouTube. So be sure to give us that thumbs up on YouTube and share the content with somebody else you think might like it. Subscribe to the page if you haven't, and hit the notifications bell so you're alerted anytime we upload new videos. All right, everybody. We'll be back with you guys on Monday. I've got a little girl who's anxious to get out in the snow, so I'm going to get out there with her, and we'll keep our phone handy in case there's any breaking news, but hopefully it's just a snow day for us. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, and we'll catch you next time.